Hey there, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a collective reading. It just feels like Spirit has quite a few things to say, so we're reunited for that topic today. I'm very excited to see what we're going to be talking about. And if you stumble upon this video, well, welcome on board. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a good time. I'm not going to say anything more besides just jumping right in, to be honest. I ain't got nothing to say, so we go for it. Funnily enough, I just took my deck like upside down, and so the first card is upside down, which is quite unique, for I generally don't read reversals, as in I don't really need. Today's topic, I'm being told, is relative to giving yourself some credits for the work which has been ongoing, the big purge that has been experienced, that is still going on to a certain extent, and also getting clear onto one's gifts. Okay, sure, let's do that. Got these two ones. And that one. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yep, definitely. Anxiety has been coming through. I feel like this is I don't know how many people is gonna be on this call. Four of Pentacles reversed. Anxiety. So it's like, again, as I was saying, I never draw cards like reversals because that's just not something I do generally. I just feel it when the meaning is supposed to be upright or reversed, so that's why I don't do it personally. But this one really wanted to come reverse, so there you go. But it's like, you put the camera. Anxiety. It's like the body telling us that we feel unsafe. Yeah, no, I see what's going on. Oh, it's gonna be another one of these ones, hey? It's like we've been working through it. We're in the middle of a big transformation. I'm not gonna repeat all of it because this is a process which has been going on for quite a while now. But there's a big purge, and currently we're tackling, like, we're letting go of some profound stuff and heaviness. There's like a lot of heaviness that is coming through here. Things we're letting go of, but it's the kind of things I'm feeling like it's the kind of things that you wouldn't even question. It's the kind of things that we would not have questioned for years. It's just, oh, that's just how life is. And at a certain point we feel like we don't feel necessarily our best, and we're like, well, could it be? What could it be? And that's when we start looking at the most fundamental basics of our paradigm, of our core. And that's when we start realize that perhaps some of our most fundamental basics that we have never questioned may be a little screwed and out of alignment. And what I'm hearing is like a lot of it's been inherited, actually. So that's why I was getting this message of like transgenerational stuff going on, which is confusing. There's this sensation of confusion too, which is quite natural, I feel, when transgenerational stuff comes up, because you may trace it back. If you like do some introspection, you can trace it back to something that happened in your life, but it will never quite make sense because the root is not yours, didn't happen in your lifetime. So it's a bit, there's like, it's a bit of a mess sometimes when it comes to this kind of cycles, especially when we're tackling like transgenerational stuff. But what I'm being indicated is, for the first part of this reading, that is yeah, that we're letting go of a lot of the things that make us feel anxious and unsafe. It's like I'm sensing the mind being split. Typically, I don't know how you live your life, but sometimes we get to experience that when we're in a good mood, life feels magical, and all of a sudden, for no reason at all, when we start thinking about money or something something else in particular, all of a sudden all the magic disappears. It's as if it feels like there is our inner world and the spiritual world and our connection with God within, and then there's the real world. It's the kind of separation of like canyon, to put an image on that. It's like, yes, there is our safe heaven, there is the magic, there are the high frequencies, and then there's real world. What is it you call real world? And Spirit is saying that understand that these emotions which have been coming through, this anxiety is very much related to that. What you call real world is not separate. It's no different. And this real world that feels anxious, well, there's a lot of, it's something you inherited from, I'm seeing like specifically it's something from your bloodline, something which has been passed down from generation to generation. It just happens that you are like done with it, so you're doing the work, whereas no one did before you. And yeah, like there's, it feels like hard work because it's not always easy to be tackling stuff which are impacting us directly, but we don't necessarily understand why because it didn't happen in our lives. You know, it's genetic memory. If you're interested in that, you can look that up. It's like science have seen that already. Science has proven, or at least cannot deny the fact that transgenerational imprints are a thing. Like a beautiful one I saw online in Ireland today, it appears that the most obese child in Europe at the moment would be an Irish boy. And I think he's a boy. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But the funny thing is, like, it's funny that 200 years ago, this country went through famine, a pre lethal famine. Like, it was real bad. And today, obesity spikes there. And they have found genetic traces within this population that shows that, yes, as a reaction of the famine, all the generations coming afterwards are genetically predisposed to gaining a lot of weight. That's literally a trauma response, which has been encoded in the genes, passed down from generation to generation. Good news being that, you know, it's just like anything else. It's just a trauma. It's like see the compassion, shower it with love and with light, and it will get reintegrated, and your genes will immediately rewrite themselves. But the funny thing is that even science recognized that no, there's the body remembers it as if it had itself experienced it, which is wild because it's a thing that would have happened 200 years ago. It's a 2 centuries old story, but the effects are very, very clearly expressing themselves today. That's what we call transgenerational trauma. And that's what we're dealing with here. It's a pain in the butt. I do feel the frustration because, yes, we do see how it's impacting us, and we do, the sensitives out there will assess that. You do notice your body remembering it, but sometimes it's a little difficult to figure it out with your mind because you're like, I don't get it. It's like, where is it coming from? Because you cannot remember anything having happened in your life that would justify such response because nothing did. Ask your body and you shall see, basically. But that's what Spirit is indicating, is like you've been hard at work with this kind of stuff and it's gotten messy and there is confusion, and I'm pretty much, that's why, that's in this context that this reading is coming. It's like this reading is coming right now because of that, because we're in the middle of it. And so because we're in the middle of this transformation of this work, and so there is a lot of like, well, we don't see where we're heading, we don't get it, basically. It's like we got our heads into it, we're doing that, but we don't necessarily, it's like when the darkness is lifted up in the air to be reintegrated, to be healed, to be exposed to the light, well, all we see is dark for a brief moment, right? And that's very much in this moment that we find ourselves. It feels like a fighting with the roots. It feels like yeah, typically the process of someone going through a healing phase where they get to actually heal traumas that were not theirs, but which are like intimately linked to their bloodline, if it makes sense. And that's very much what we're dealing up with here. That's why there is anxiety, there are fears coming through which are very obvious, but yeah, we can't figure out why they're here. It's like, where is it coming from? I don't get it. That's the kind of energy, this kind of confusion, and we're hard at work with it. As very much the kind of energy that the like spinning in a wheel kind of energy that the mind is in right now. I can see that is interesting because it's like you all know that basic your mind cannot remember just talking about like a transgenerational trauma. The mind will not remember it obviously because it wasn't there when it happened, when the root of the primary experience that's put it all into motion happened. You were not there, so you cannot remember it. The body does, so it's very much a process of just letting yourself go to it and seeing whatever needs to be seen, feeling whatever needs to be felt. It's no different than just another shadow work session, so to speak. But it can bring a bit more confusion. But that's very much the process we're in right now. It's like Page of Swords, we are rising. It's not the Ace of Swords that we're having here. It's not like the beginning of a journey. It's like we're already graduated. That's the kind of energy. It's like if you're here on this reading, you're not a newbie when it comes to this kind of work. I'm talking about the lights out there which are familiar with this kind of work, which are not scared of the dark, which are familiar with it, which already are aware that the dark is not bad in any ways, and that often the most beautiful things that we get to find about ourselves are at first lost in the dark. So there's nothing bad to be found there. There's nothing scary. It's scary for as long as we don't see it. But this, if you're on this reading, I feel that these things are not. I don't even need to discuss on these things because you already know these things. You're already. I'm getting the energy of you're already graduated from that things. Like you already know these things. You're already familiar with your inner world. You're already familiar with this kind of work. You've been killing it for a long time. There's no point in reassessing that which you already know, basically. But the interesting thing is like you're so good at it that now I'm really getting this idea. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting myself. It's like messages are coming as they come. I don't get to say a thing about that. I don't get to choose, but I'm getting like a bit of background. It's like, yeah, you've been putting a lot of work in this, and you have seen how better you got to feel in your life and how better your experience of life got to be thanks to your sheer dedication and your work and your willingness to transmute the dark and realizing that there are only beautiful things behind that. But it needs to be, I mean, it's conscious work. You need to do it. As beautiful as it may be, it still looks scary on the outside at first. So it still needs bravery. And you've been doing it. And it's old story in a way. It's never really old story. It's like life doesn't stop. So there will always be more to discover about ourselves. But what I'm getting is like, yes, your life has definitely come to a much better place, and being honest with yourself, we're in this energy, in the presence of spirit, where we realize, no, actually our lives is not half bad. It's like being honest. Yeah, there are a lot of things that we would love to see and experience, and no denying that, your dreams, your desires are synonymous of your aliveness. There's nothing wrong with that in the slightest. But we also get to see that it's time for a next level us. It's time to really step up, because we're not here to just half-ass it. We're not here to just live okay, mundane lives. We used to live lives that were not fun to experience, and we got ourselves to a place where our lives today are meh. They're not bad, but they're mundane. And we're already very, very happy, and Spirit is so proud of us for having done this work. It's like, oh my god. It's like the amount of courage that it takes, and strength and resilience. Oh my god. Congrats on that. But now it's like, okay, you brought yourself to this stage of life, which is already so good, but you know in your heart that you want more. You know that your soul is here for so much more. And so it's time to level up yet again. And so we have started, and we are in the middle of it, this new volley of traumas, basically, of trauma integration, these new things to be discovered about ourselves, things that which are much deeper than we used to work with, new things basically, new things to discover about ourselves, which we all know will make us understand ourselves better and will increase the quality of our life and blah blah blah. You know that. But the thing is, like, yeah, this time we're tackling ancestral trauma. It's like it's the next level shit basically that we're dealing with. So that's why I'm getting this energy of we're graduates here. I don't need to explain these things to you. You already know what I'm talking about if you're here on this call. Because if you weren't that aware, you wouldn't have found this video. That's definitely what I'm getting. Which feels good. It feels like family. So you know, welcome in. Another thing, it's like what I'm hearing is yes, there's anxiety. That is normal. You're not gonna escape your mind freaking out as you are working, as you are walking through this, basically. This anxiety just means that your body is very aware of what is coming to the surface and what you're doing. It's a natural byproduct. You know, it's like, yeah, we may be taking a little shard out of your skin. Well, while we're taking it out, it hurts. You know, it's like, yeah, while you're doing the work, there's the anxiety because it's a direct consequence of what you're pulling out. So that's normal. So, a message I'm hearing is please don't be mad at yourself. Please don't be harsh on yourself for feeling anxious. It's uh, it's okay to recognize that it's not preferred. It's also okay to recognize that right now at this moment, that just indicates you what you're dealing with. And loving yourself and be accepting yourself being stressed out and anxious will just make it that much easier for you to work through it. This anxiety is here to stay because it's a direct reflection of the trauma you're pulling out. Once you're healed, this anxiety will vanish in ways that perhaps you will realize that you didn't even know what it felt to not be anxious. But the thing I'm really getting is like, please be okay with it being an absolute mess. Please be okay with it being stressful. It's not comfortable. No, it's not. It's not meant to be comfortable. We're looking at the things which are uncomfortable. But you've dedicated yourself to your lights. You've dedicated yourself to your the most absolute badass version of yourself, the most ecstatic, the most blissful experience that you want to see come to life. You say you promised this to yourself. So now we're letting go of everything which stands in the way, and that is uncomfortable. But Spirit, yeah, again, is really emphasizing this thing. Please have some compassion for yourself and accept the fact that it's messy. Accept the fact that it's uncomfortable. Accept the fact that the nervous system may freak out. Accept the fact that the body may reflect illnesses as this heaviness and density is moving through the system. Be okay with it. Don't resist it. Don't introduce unnecessary resistance. It's just your body adjusting to the flow. It's okay if it's not perfect. That's what we're getting at here. And yeah, another thing is please take the time to stop dropping around. It's like take the time to have some you time. It's very important, especially right now. Take the time free from distraction, doing things that actually nurture your soul, that actually make you feel like you. Take some you time. Whatever it is, it's gonna be different from every one of us, okay? That is leading our metamorphosis. What I'm hearing is like you have not even a remote idea of who you're becoming. So that's another thing is like, please detach from the end result. You're doing this work because you're hoping that by the end you're going to feel this way and that way. The answer is the ways that you wish to feel by the end of the process, the ways you wish your life to be by the end of the process are ridiculously small compared to what it's actually going to be like. You're hoping that you're gonna feel a little better, that you're gonna feel this way, you're gonna feel that way, and that your life will look this way. That's very good for you to be hoping for these things. You have no idea how small that is in comparison to what you're actually opening yourself up for. So please detach from the end result because you anyways don't know what it is. And you're not asked to guide yourself through the process thanks to the end result. So that's what I'm hearing is like, it's gonna make the process that much easier if you stop freaking out about the end result. and just like surrender to the process. That's what I'm hearing. So yeah, it's not, yes, it's messy, yeah, it's not the best, but it's what we got right now. 3 cards before the second part of the reading. Be generous, live. Yeah, the things that we could be, just some some bits and bobs of what we could be expecting. Peace of mind, a state of serenity, more like in a more holistic way. You feeling serene, you feeling calm, which may be a little hard sometimes to imagine when we're walking through things. That's why again, Spirit is not necessarily asking you or inviting you to imagine these things to make it happen. No, it's already happening. It's like you're good. Serenity, true serenity, and an open heart. Material security, just your nervous system knowing, not believing, not thinking, not imagining, not deducing, knowing that you're safe, knowing that you're good, knowing that you're taken care of. Nervous system actually chilling the freak out. So that's the thing to be looking forward. And also is like the material world, the financial world moving in ways which are again well beyond our expectations, but in ways which might be surprising and may not confirm our previous dreams, which by then may feel small. Healing, obviously, well, shedding our old skin. I'm just hearing like us transforming into a version of us, a version of ourselves we didn't even know was possible. And I know it feels good. I know it feels crazy. I know it feels like, oh my god, that's pumping me up so much, or oh my god, it feels too good to be true. No, I'm saying it like dead serious, except I'm not dead. I'm saying it like the most serious, in the most serious way possible. It's like literally, yes, it's much better than what you can imagine. That's why let it go. Don't try to imagine it. That's just a waste of time. Who you're transforming into is a version of yourself you don't even know exists today. And that's okay. You'll get there, but you'll know once you get there. You'll know. Oh my god, you'll know. It's like this version of ourselves is like, it's hard to begin to describe the amount of confidence. That's the first thing that's striking me, that we get to experience as a result. It's like, oh my god, unstoppable force. I love that. There is a second part to this reading, so we're gonna get right into it now. What are we talking about now, Spirit? We are changing deck. Okay, was not expecting that. Gonna be using tarot, but this one instead then. Okay. Just give me a second while I shuffle the other deck that I hadn't prepared. Are we using tarot? Maybe, we'll see. Of course. We're talking about gifts now. Are we? Are we talking about gifts or are we not? That's enough of this deck. Okay. Tarot now. Yeah. Oh, good. Real good. Uh-huh. I see. Yeah. Let's do it. Oh my god, that is just so good, but it makes so much sense. You know, it's like, I'm really happy because I myself get to points that sometimes I'm like, I'm tired of just hearing like good news kind of readings, because I'm like, I may be going through density and heaviness at the moment, and finding myself in a state where I just feel like I cannot really relate to just everything magically going in my favor. It's like, I know that this is ultimately true. I know that everything is always happening in my best interest. It's hard sometimes for me to get myself to feel this way though. and it's totally okay. That's just, it's humans that when it's human that when you get to experience heaviness, when you're transmuting darkness, well, you feel the darkness, obviously. So I like these readings. It's like, yeah, it's good, but it's not. It just feels very grounded. The energy that I'm getting, it's like we're not just saying Spirit is not saying that everything's gonna be alright just because it's Spirit loves to be like all positive and oh everything is awesome and everything's gonna be alright and a little bit the magic and all your problems disappear. No, it's very much like no, this is just logical. You don't believe it, I don't care. That's just logic at this point. That's just logical. Honestly, it's what we're the the heaviness that we're working with. I'm calling it all sorts of names, but you know what I'm referring to. Like this darkness that we're transmuting, these past traumas, because that's what they are to the nervous system, really. That we're processing. They have been affecting us since day one, basically, because they were passed down. So there's this kind of energy of you don't know what's on the other side, and that's completely understandable. You're not expected to know what's on the other side, but simply because you've never seen what's on the other side. It's like you were born, your genes already bearing these imprints. And the intention of Spirit is not to make it feel fatalist or like deterministic or anything like that. It's like, no, genes are the mind's bitch, basically. It's like genes do what you tell them to do. As you heal, the genes rewrite themselves in not in a few hours. That's it. That's how malleable it really is. Although when we're going through this kind of emotions, that's not the way we may feel towards it. I get it. But what Spirit's saying is like, no, we've been employing the terms, we've been referring to genes and genetics, and yeah, it's a common trigger for us because we think, especially when we're in lower frequencies, that it's immutable. That is the least stable things about our anatomy, honestly, genetics. When you study genetics, you get quite shocked to realize that such a fragile molecule gets to stay the same from one day to another for how fragile it appears. But what I'm getting is that's why it's like this over these profound shifts in yourself, in your identity, in your life, in your relationships, in pretty much everything, in your self-concept primarily, are not shifts that you could ever be imagining because that's how your family has always behaved. That's how you were related to, and that's how you have been since day one. It's like your body grew up this way, and so it's like, what's on the other side? Well, how could you know? You've never seen it. That's very much like it feels too good to be true, but that's the thing. It's like, no, it is good, but it is true. It just happens that it's a truth you've never seen. You never knew it was true because you've never, like, since day one, you were in the matrix, so to speak. So, so it's that's why Spirit is like, don't torture yourself trying to figure it out. There's no point. You won't get it. Even if you get it, it's not gonna bring you any further, you know. But it's very much like here realizing, yeah, coming to a point, and that is happening very soon because we're in the freaking middle of it right now. Like, as in, we're in the middle of it at this moment. So it's for very, very soon. Especially that my OGs viewers here watching this video, we're used to this kind of work here, so it's definitely not the kind of thing that will take years. Oh, definitely not. We're way too good at it for it to, and we have way too many things to experience in this life to let it take up this much time. Believing the impossible is really getting to the state where you realize that actually your dreams that you've had since day one, yeah, well, there was a reason to why you dreamed of these things. They may have felt impossible for most of them. You will realize how easily possible and obviously possible they are very soon as these limitations are removed by virtue of removing the darkness. These veils are lifted up, and you see, oh, wait, that is so possible. You're good enough, and that is just so good. The energy that I'm receiving here is very much confidence. It's the end of shame. It's the end of guilt. It's the end of self censorship. It's the beginning of the badass era. It's the beginning of I don't give a fluff about what you think kind of era. Not in a mean way, but just in a genuine way. It's like, no, the thing that matters most is me. In my experience, thank God that I matter most in my experience. And so what you think, I don't care. That's just information. But why would I take it personally? That's what you think. That's your thoughts. And nothing guarantees me that you have any idea what you're talking about anyways. So why would I take it personally? As very much this idea of being completely detached from others' opinions, and that's the end of fear, that's the end of of shame, of guilt, of self-censorship. And so I'm really getting, oh yeah, I can feel it right now, like in powerful throat chakra activation. It feels so warm in my own throat right now, this moment. That's so wild. That is so wild. So powerful throat activation. I'm hearing that your voice will change. You will hear, and people will tell you your voice sounds different. That's how profound and powerful this transformation is being. That thing, and also like just in the way you show up with the world, is like with such a more assertive energy, and yet so gentle and loving at the same time. Because how can you not want to spread the love after all that, you know? It's just such a powerfully loving, powerfully gentle, a warrior of light, of love and abundance. But you better not gonna be on their wrong end. You're not gonna better not gonna be on their blacklist, you know? It's like you would know better than try to be messing with warriors of light, people who are sensitive to energy. You know better than doing that, right? That's the kind of energy I'm getting, honestly. As extremely assertive and confident, yet completely melted in love. So beautiful. Your commitment is being tested. A funny card. The energy I'm getting here is no challenges anymore. It's like we have pierced through the illusion of challenges. A lot of us may have grown up, since we're talking transgenerational stuff, with this idea of us being challenged regularly by life and us feeling like there is this sensation of antagonism, having to fight our way through life in order to get our needs met. You know, there's this kind of fighting, this kind of warrior energy. And here I'm really getting this idea of seeing right through the matrix. It's like, no, there's no need to fight. It's the kind of energy where we notice at the end of the day that yes, we are invited to feel like we need to fight, because this is how the people around us grew up believing you need to relate to the world. It's like you need to fight. It needs to be hard. Come on. What are you doing? You're so lazy for not wanting to fight. You're so lazy. Something is wrong with you if you're not freak out 24/7. It's like, oh my God. And we're not buying into it anymore. It's like, no, I know that life is meant to feel like ease. I know it's meant to feel easy. Does not mean that I'm not doing anything. There are way too many things I want to do. Doesn't mean that I'm spending all day long in the couch watching Netflix, because that doesn't feel inspiring. That doesn't feel good. But it's just us not buying into the idea that it needs to be hard. No, we can be working like 10 hours a day and being so in love with what we're doing that by the end of these 10 hours, we are excited and inspired and energized. How cool that feels. Some of us don't even feel like it would even be possible today. That is very much possible, and you'll get to experience it yourself. It's just us not buying into the bullshit that we've been fed and that a lot of us believe in still. That's okay, but we're past that now. It's like, no, I know I'm supported. No, I know I'm loved. Thank you. I appreciate you trying to protect me by asking me to freak out. I don't buy into it. I'm over that. I don't believe in the antagonism anymore. I know I'm connected to everything here. I don't have enemies anymore. I don't buy in this energy of I need to have an enemy. And that is powerful. Luck is on your side. It just feels like life taking a mysterious turn in our favor, and just magically out of thin air, just everything started lining up exactly how it was meant to be. It being meant to be a way that we perhaps today may not even be conceiving. That's what I'm hearing. Is like some of us may be actually genuinely surprised by what ends up happening as a result of us releasing this kind of stuff. But oh my god, will it be a blast? You know, such energy is like, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Tarot wise, it's like Nine of Pentacles is just all you wish for and more in the material. Safety. You know, it's like sense of security. It's not about money, it's not about your material possessions. It's about you feeling safe no matter what, unconditionally safe within yourself, knowing that whatever happens, you're good. You know it because that's how profound you are communing with the truth now. And as a result, money has no choice but to fall in love with you and to be chasing you. That's just how it works, baby. Six of Swords to a Swords Judgment. It just feels such a redemption arc, honestly. Six of Swords is just us moving away. And as you know, it's like generally this card in tarot is interpreted as a bit of a sorrow related, grief related kind of card because we're just letting go painful stuff. It's like, oh no, it's more than welcome here. It's like, I'm so happy it showed up here. It's like we're just letting go this old war. It's like, look at the imagery. It's a little dark, but yeah, we can see on camera. It's like, you know, it's like the six swords because it's the six of swords. So there needs to be a representation of it somehow, you know, but all like crumbling and with a lot of spider webs, as in it's old. It used to be an old war, and at the bottom there are like boats, like, you know, going through these huge columns, like people moving through the reminiscences of an old war. And that's very much the energy of realizing, you know what, this war is not mine. I have healed it as my own, I have fought it as my own, and I have brought peace to it. Now, that's your problem, not mine anymore. And it's very much the energy of us healing a transgenerational trauma and moving away from the BS. And yes, some people in our own families, since it's generational, may not make the same choice as you, as us, as me. Some people may not align with our choice to be happy. That's okay, that's their wars. That's their war now. That's not ours. It's like we have withdrawn ourselves from this kind of stuff because it never belonged to us in the first place. We've been generous enough and kind enough to be taking care of it as our own because, truth be told, it has impacted us in our lives just like as if it was our own stuff. But we come to the conclusion we realize that that's not our stuff. If we get to hear some people shouting around of, oh my god, how dare you not doing this, how dare you not running the rat race like the rest of us, are you crazy? That's your war now. We're done with the suffering, we're done with that. It's like, that's your stuff. We're not playing with that anymore. Powerful energy of moving on and letting go. It's like, that's not mine anymore. So powerful. Two of Swords is really like the end of having to fight our way through life, having to figure out a way to make ends meet. It's like having to choose between Charybdis and Scylla, having to always feeling like we have very few options so as to go forward in our experience, and that whatever options we see, none of them ever feel fulfilling. It just feels like picking the least worst of the two, and it's like, no more of that. We're done buying into these kinds of paradigms and ideas. It's like, we're done with that. We're done with the dark. It taught us a lot, and we will go on to inspire the whole world. There is a tremendous amount of value through that. Spirit wants us to see that too. It's like nothing is lost, and it's so valuable for us to be experiencing these things. In the future, it will be clearer than right now as we're experiencing it, obviously. But it's like none of that's lost. And so that is beautiful inherently. This process is beautiful. Nowhere else other than on Earth you can get to experience this kind of stuff, you know? But we're done with it. It's like, okay, we've learned it. We've understood. We have developed a tremendous amount of wisdom and love for ourselves. We have come back full circle to ourselves. Now we're moving on. And that's when judgment appears. Our destiny. So this is just, it just feels like when you take a book, about an epic adventure where there's just the hero that starts with their friends, like I don't know, like you got the human hero with his elf friend, and you got the hobbit friend and whatever, and they go on to an adventure, and and at the start of the book, they're all a little naive and they think that everything's right. Then the shit hits the fan, and that's when the hero gets to mature up, to grow, and to become. By the end of the book, they sit on the throne. But the guy who sits on the throne couldn't ever be the one who thought that everything was alright at the beginning of the book before getting to know themselves. That's what is happening right now. It's like what I'm hearing is like us going through it. On the other side, we're emerging as a freaking empowered version of ourselves that we didn't even know existed, and now we're sitting on our throne. All of a sudden, we're here leading our purpose, leading our lives. It's such a different energy, which is very welcome. Whew. I'm gonna stop there. I feel like my throat is getting a little sour at the moment, a little dry, so talked for long enough in one go. Thank you so much for sharing space with me. That was one heck of a reading, and I just feel very empowering and very spot on. So if you were amongst the people to stumble upon this video, I'm so glad we got to meet. Such a pleasure. Please let me know down in the comments how it went for you. I'd love to know. And yeah, also like the video and subscribe. That would support me a lot if you enjoyed this video. But yeah, it's like I just can't get myself to feel like, as messy as it feels right now, you have seen many synchronicities that indicate you that you're on the right path. And you, last minute message, let's go with it. It's like I'm re-getting this idea that you have seen a tremendous amount of synchronicities on behalf of Spirit, indicating you and reassuring you every single day that you're on the right path. Although in your experience it feels like a freaking mess, and you're like, how the heck is this supposed to be the right path? When it feels so dreadful at moments, you're on the right path. You're killing it. Keep on walking. You know where you're headed, and you can feel it too now. So you got this, okay? Sending you lots of love. I'm gonna be seeing you in the next one. Bye.